Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we are going to take a look at a Safari LTD figure, and it is not a newer figure, it's not any type of a 2020 figure or anything. In fact, it's been out for quite a while. I think it's made in, let's see here, 2010? Yeah, 2010. So it's been out for 10 years now. But it's a pterosaur, and I don't really look at the pterosaurs too often from Safari LTD here on the channel, and honestly it is absolutely baffling to me why I don't. I really have no idea, because they create some of the best pterosaur figures that you will ever see, but this is their Rhamphorhynchus. Before I go any further into the review, I want to remind anybody watching that you can go to the Safari LTD website and put the code Andy in at checkout and you will get yourself 15% off, which is just super awesome of Safari LTD to allow us to have that incredibly cool discount. Something that I just want to continuously remind you guys, Safari LTD was gracious enough to give me a code exclusive to my channel to get you guys that awesome discount. So make sure you utilize that and order yourself some Safari LTD figures today. Now this figure, being a Rhamphorhynchus, is really quite awesome because it's one species of pterosaur I've always really been a big fan of. So to have Safari LTD create one, and not just any Rhamphorhynchus, it is a beautiful looking Rhamphorhynchus figure, is very exciting as far as I'm concerned, and I have wanted to get a hold of this figure for so long, and I just did in my latest Safari LTD acquisition where I got the last two of their 2020 figures. I also got this beautiful Rhamphorhynchus figure, so let's go ahead and get a closer look at it right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt, you can see the head sculpt looks really nice, beautiful detailing throughout, and one thing that I really love about this Rhamphorhynchus figure is that Safari LTD has included a nice dark wash to bring the detail out in wonderful fashion all throughout the figure, but also making it look extremely realistic. Overall, very impressive looking now that they've included that dark wash. So I do want to point that out straight away, but you can see that the head sculpt looks really good overall, and you've got a very nice eye painted on there with a yellowish color and a black pupil. It might look like it's a little bit off actually as far as placement goes. Let's look at this side. This side's perfect, it looks like to me. Definitely really nicely done. As far as this side has a perfectly placed eye, this side's a little bit sloppy but not too bad at all. You can see the nostrils sculpted out up here, as well as the very interesting and trademark Rhamphorhynchus teeth. That's one thing that you can kind of always pick out about a Rhamphorhynchus is the interlocking teeth, and I think it looks really good the way that they've done this here on our Rhamphorhynchus, having the mouth kind of open just a little bit, almost looking like it's soaring down to grab a fish from a lake or something, and the mouth is just opening up to do just that. So it looks really cool, and that could actually create a very interesting diorama with the Rhamphorhynchus figure. Definitely some potential there. The eye socket area as well is really quite nicely sculpted as far as the detailing around the eye. If my camera would focus on it, you can get a good idea of it a little bit there. As well as the inside of the mouth actually does include a pinkish coloration in there, and you can see that on the upper side and the lower jaw. And there's also kind of, it seems like there might be a tongue in there, but it's a little hard to see. It's a very small mouth. Primarily the head is painted with a very nice dark brown, almost a black type of a color, and then you have that nice red in the eye area. And then the lower jaw has kind of like a khaki type of a color. And then up here on the top of the head, that same red that you see in the eye socket area runs up to the tip of the snout and then runs along the head and then stops kind of right here in the neck area. And once again, you can see that nice dark wash included, so that brings out that skin detail really nicely. As we lead back into the neck, you can see again lots of really nice skin detail and minute sculpt work as far as the skin texture goes. It looks extremely nice. As we lead down here into the back of our Rhamphorhynchus, you can now take note to the spinal column and every ounce of detail that you would expect to find within our Rhamphorhynchus is beautifully present and beautifully sculpted. And one of my favorite aspects of this Rhamphorhynchus is the beautiful paint application on the wing. I love the way it transitions from this really nice red down into like a yellowish color here for the lower part of the wing. That transition is so insanely smooth and so beautiful looking, and really gives the pterosaur such a striking look, but at the same time a very realistic appearance. This is without question a coloration I could see a pterosaur being in real life. If a Rhamphorhynchus just happened to fly by outside, I could definitely see it looking like this, so the color choice from Safari LTD was quite beautifully done. You can see the detail that runs out throughout the arm, running into the wing, looks really good. You can even get a sense of the musculature in the arm area. You've also got a really nice hand sculpt up here. The nails also appear to be sculpted really well. Even the kind of scoot-like appearance that runs down the fingers looks really good. The detail within the wing is just staggeringly beautiful. You can see so much sculpt and detail as far as that skin texture throughout the wing, and it leads out the entire length of the wing. Really fantastic looking, and all that detail is brought out once again beautifully with that dark wash, and it's the same deal on both sides, so it looks extremely realistic thanks to that dark wash. But just the overall sculpting that Safari LTD has put into this is just mind-blowing. And then we lead out the length of the tail, and the tail transitions from that nice brown back to a red here, similar to what we saw up on the head. And again, the skin texture of the tail here at the end looks extremely nice as far as the sculpt work goes. So much detailing included. Again, very impressive stuff from Safari LTD. And then if we look at the underside, look at how incredible the sculpting and detailing is of the underside of this Rhamphorhynchus. It is just gorgeous, and every little ounce of detail is beautifully portrayed thanks to that dark wash. You can see just in general the entire body shape of our pterosaur here, kind of the rib cage and all, very nicely elaborated from the skin, as well as the beautiful leg sculpt here, kind of bringing the legs up into the body, and it just looks incredible, honestly. The skin detail of this pterosaur is just off the charts. Even the way the skin is kind of reacting in here with the legs being scrunched up into the body is beautifully portrayed in the sculpt. You've got a really nice foot sculpt here as well, with a very nice scoot-like appearance down the toes, and again it transitions back to that nice dark brown. Almost looks like he's got like boots on or something. Same deal with the tail, that nice dark brown. The skin texture looks great here on the underside of the tail, and again the skin texture of the underside of the wing looks just as incredible as it did up there on the top. And again, thanks to the very nice dark wash, you can see just how beautiful all that detail truly is. So extremely impressive in every aspect is this pterosaur. There is not a single area on this figure that is not absolutely sculpted to the max and painted with absolute beauty. So this pterosaur, this Rhamphorhynchus, is fantastic. As far as a size goes on our Rhamphorhynchus, from the tail to the tip of the snout, you're looking at just a little under 7.5 inches, or about 19 centimeters for a length, and for a wingspan, for the current positioning of the wings, just a little under 8 inches. I would say like 7.75 inches, or around 19.5, actually more closer to like 20 centimeters, somewhere around there. For a size comparison, there is the Safari LTD Dilophosaurus, Saltosaurus, and Amargasaurus right here next to our Rhamphorhynchus, giving you a good idea that as far as a Rhamphorhynchus figure goes, it is a really big figure. If we pull it out of here and knock the Dilophosaurus over, and we show you just in general, kind of lay it up on those guys, you can now see that this Rhamphorhynchus definitely sports some pretty good size, especially as far as the wingspan goes. So that is another very impressive factor of our Rhamphorhynchus, is the fact that it does sport some pretty good size, very impressive size, and you'll see that if you order it yourself. Once you get it out, you'll definitely be impressed overall by just how big it is. So this Safari LTD Rhamphorhynchus figure is absolutely beautiful. I love this figure. For many years I would always see this in gift shops all over the place. Every time I would go to a museum somewhere, I would end up running into this Rhamphorhynchus figure, and I'd always either be too broke to buy it at the time, or I would have a ton of other figures already in my hand, and I'd always say, well, I'm gonna get that next time. And it's very unfortunate that I always put it off, because it is an incredible figure, and now that I have it here in my collection, I could not possibly be happier to own it. But honestly, it's probably one of my favorite pterosaur figures in my collection. As quickly as it entered, it immediately jumped the rank up to being one of my favorites for sure, because it is incredible looking. Once I actually took this closer look, honestly, it's even more impressive than I ever thought it was initially, because actually really paying attention to things like the movement of the skin and just how much incredible skin detail is included with this Rhamphorhynchus is just honestly mind-blowing. It is crazy how beautifully detailed this Rhamphorhynchus is. And one thing that you don't really see too often from Safari LTD, especially not anymore, is the way that they used a really nice dark wash to bring all the detail out beautifully on the pterosaur. And I think that that was a really beautiful touch on the part of them to really bring the detail out and make the figure just look so incredibly realistic, jumped up so much higher as far as realism goes by including that dark wash. I also really love the paint scheme. I think the paint scheme is very nicely done. The colors that they chose are all really nice choices for a pterosaur. I think it helped to make the figure, again, look very realistic, at the same time kind of having a little bit of a flashy look with that beautiful transition from the red to yellow on the wings, but they're all such realistic tones, kind of darker tones as far as that red goes and everything. It looks extremely real as far as not only the application of the paint, but just in general the paint scheme. It's definitely the type of look I could see on a real living Rhamphorhynchus. So Safari LTD 100% nailed this figure in every possible aspect. I love this figure so much, and if you want to pick this up, I will include a link in the description to the Safari LTD website and a link that will take you directly to the listing for this Rhamphorhynchus. Don't forget, when you go to checkout, as you order this or any figure you are in fact interested in on the Safari LTD website, that you include the code Andy. The promo code Andy will get you 15% off of your order on the Safari LTD website. So make sure you pick this up, and make sure you also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.